Hello and welcome to the Tony and Coty Show. My name's Tony.
Well, you didn't tell me you were going to say that.
Oh, well, that's where you go. I'm Coty.
We should rehearse that part and say, okay, at this point I'm going to say, and you are. And
well, see, I'm trying to get real. This is like...
What if I wanted to clear my voice in my throat before I said that?
This is like reality TV. It's like reality radio. You don't know what's going to happen. Just bam, there it goes.
Okay, well, you should let the host know when you're going to do something like that. Okay,
well,
so then do it again.
No, we just did it.
Okay.
Okay, we'll start over. Okay, here we go. Hello and welcome to the Tony and Coty Show. I'm Tony,
the DJ.
Well,
and the MC.
You told me to just say it. I mean, what do you expect me to do? Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Tony. This is my wife, Coty.
No, don't say wife.
No, what?
I'm just saying. I don't want it to be like, oh, here's my support group, my little, bystander. Why can't it just be Coty?
Because we're equal.
Good,
You're
let's
not a
be
bystander.
Equal. Don't go ahead and put a little title on me. Where's your title? Oh, and I'm the husband, Tony Alonso, and here's my wife,
that doesn't
Coty
sound right.
Alonso. It doesn't, does it? So don't put it on me.
Fine. Okay, this is this other person that's just sitting beside me. Say it. Okay.
Whatever.
My co-host. How's that?
Why do I gotta be the co-host?
What do you want to be?
Why can't I be the host and you be the co-host?
Fine, I'll be the co-host. You just do it. All right. So do we have are we going to talk about anything?
All right, just go.
All right, here we go. Well, coming up this week, we have 2 new releases. The Monkey Finger Gelato 2, which is releasing on Friday.
Which looks awesome.
Very much so. August 8th, yes.
Don't you feel like they kind of came back out with their signature colors?
The colors are insane.
I feel like there was a dip where I didn't see a lot of those, and then this release, it's like, oh, there they are.
Well, that's the reason why we started with the artistry series at YoyoCommunity, is we were just seeing so many of the same colors all the time, and there was so much more that could be done, and...
Not for Monkey Finger.
Oh, no, not for Monkey Finger. Monkey
right.
Finger kills it. And that's why, it's so refreshing to see another company take that passion with their colorways. And they're the ones that inspired us actually to do the artistry series.
That's what I'm saying. It was awesome you were just waiting to see what they were going to come up with. And then I feel like I said, there was a drought, a little bit of a, where are they? And then they came back, and I feel like I love these colorways that they came out with.
Yeah,
it's got their passion back in it. Oh, there it is.
Yep. Well, I love that they're coming up with some new colorways, but even throwing back to some of the ones that were in the original gelato that we carried back in the day.
Yep.
So you can still find some of those colorways in this new batch too.
Yep.
And also what's really cool is Chris Allen, who some of you guys may know from Yo-Yo Skills, is
a
few people, just a couple, has been pretty heavily involved in Monkey Finger and came out with this brilliant video, the Save a Gelato 2, that was absolutely hilarious. Yep.
Say that again.
Save a Gelato 2.
Well, you kind of
I can say it a third time
through that.
Well, I was trying to remember, what I was saying.
Right.
Because there's a 2 involved. There's a 2 at the end.
Right.
So anyways, which the whole video, if you haven't seen it, you need to see it. But it's all about making sure that a yo-yo does not sit on the shelf, because every yo-yo needs a home.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Even those that have not been built yet.
Is that a hint? Is that a teaser? Is that a Marvel comic credits are rolling teaser?
No.
Okay. We'll just carry on like that didn't happen.
Okay.
Also coming up next week is the One Drop Gradient, Graham's brand new yo-yo. Get this, budget side effect yo-yo. $79 for solids. Side effect yo-yo. American made, American built, American signature. Awesome.
I thought I'm racking my brain. I thought there already was I thought One Drop came out with a budget side effect yo-yo.
Yes, the Benchmark series, which is the really cool ones where they took the same dimensions and same specs but created an organic H shape and V shape, which those were the same thing and budget minded. But this, which they were also side effects, but this is an actual ground up design signature yo-yo for Graham that is still going to fall within that $79 price range.
Cool.
And you say,
are we going to have signature series?
Artistry series?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Better believe it. We've got them ordered, and they're going to be on their way, and they're going to be awesome.
Okay.
How
much are they going to go for?
Oh, how much they are?
No, okay, so the regular...
I don't know.
The solids are going for $79.
$79, yes.
The other ones are going for $79 as well?
Just the solids. Splashes or artistry series, we don't know the price on yet because we haven't received them yet.
Okay.
Have to wait till we get them.
Okay.
But you said it looked like the Valor. Very similar. So it's kind of like
Is that the correct way to say that?
Well, it's very similar. Everybody compares yo-yos. One of my biggest pet peeves when I finally got a chance to design a yo-yo, the Spectrum and the
That's
Spectrum.
That's not what I said. I said, did you say that correctly?
I said that correctly, but you always compare yo-yos. You always compare to what the other one was.
Okay.
Did you not think they look similar?
Yes.
But
I said honestly, when I saw it from a distance, I thought it looked like the
Valor
and the Cheek?
Yep, Cheek. Yep.
Okay, so I thought that's what it looked like.
I got a chance to play it. Graham had one there at the IYYC, and it just plays really, really well. And the thing I love the most about side effects, which you've mentioned many times, is that you can change them out, the different side effects, get the different weights, and...
Because I like a heavier yo-yo.
And I like a lighter yo-yo. And that way, we can take the same yo-yo and make it as many different ways as possible. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, so that's it. That's the Monkey Finger Gelada 2 coming out on Friday, August 8th, and the One Drop Gradient on August 13th. Be sure to pick those up. They're going to be available at YoyoCommunity.com. Well, since we're talking about IYYC and got to try out the gradient there, we got a chance to go to that and had a lot of fun at it.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good.
A very attractive contest.
And one of the reasons what made this such an attractive contest, besides being in Orlando, was the venue. Mm-hmm. House of Blues, downtown Disney. Does not get a whole lot better than that. Mm-mm. Gorgeous venue. You walk inside. It's where national acts come and play. We've seen several concerts there ourselves. Mm-hmm. Great venue. Beautiful venue location, great easy access, tons of hotels, tons of things to do when you're not at the contest.
Great mainstream traffic.
Yep, so many people that you can share yo-yoing with, and that's been the big struggle with coming up with venues. I know a lot of people, since we're right here at Worlds, we're talking about one of the issues they had with Worlds that was very secluded, mm-hmm. which, when speaking with Greg, the past Worlds owner, said that was the point, that Worlds should be for the yo-yoers. Many people disagree and said that no, yo-yoing, no matter what level, should be for everybody, and we should get as many people seeing it as possible. So I think that's what was so attractive at this venue. The foot traffic, literally thousands of people walk through there during the summer, mm-hmm. right by that building.
And it was free.
Free to get in, yep.
So they could just walk in, sit down, catch a few acts or, to them, acts and performances. And then they could go about their business, or they could, whatever.
Yep. And how about the money?
Mm-hmm. Cash prizes?
Yep.
Yep.
$17,000, $17,500, one of those two in cash prizes. One of the things that I think made this contest so awesome is that it really legitimizes what we're doing. Somebody can come here, and I think Ben Condi walked away with almost $5,000, maybe over $5,000. Really, really awesome. And I think that's what we need to start seeing more. We've seen some already U.S. contests, like over in the California when, speaking of Chris Allen, used to run that. We had some really nice cash prizes. And just to have something taking it to the next level, I think that's what is going to be really needed for people to start taking yo-yoing seriously, is having those large cash prizes. Mm-hmm. And Duncan can do that.
Mm-hmm. Duncan did a great job.
Yep. Stage, the backdrop, huge backdrop. Mm-hmm. Huge backdrop. Almost could have been black, I think, because black is kind of the standard you can see. I know a few people mentioned that they were having problems seeing the string. Did you have any problem when you were viewing it, seeing the string?
No, because it was still dark background. Mm-hmm. Black is, okay, you don't really need to shine. You can shine as many lights on it as possible, and it's black. But, okay, so a dark blue, I don't know. I think that's I think that's a little cosmetic. It wasn't a white background. It was still a dark blue background. I don't know. I think that wasn't the problem. I don't think the backdrop was the problem at all. I think that they could have spotlit, the front area where the yo-yoers are actually standing, to eliminate anybody saying that they could, lose the string in the background. But
well, one of the things that also made this contest really awesome was the video uploads. John Narum, our newest team member, got third place at it, and one of the cool things is while we were waiting for the results to be posted, his video was uploaded so incredibly quickly. We were able to not only rewatch John's yo-yo with John, we were able to watch then Ben Condi's, Ian Johnson's, and Sean Perez's, and we were then becoming our own judges and trying to see who we thought were going to be the
But Duncan's always been really good about that, though.
Yeah. Always really high quality
video. Every time
video.
that they're on top of that, that's like, it seems like that's a priority to them, to get a very high quality shot of what they're doing and then getting it uploaded as quickly as possible.
And that's so awesome, just to be able to have that and to watch those performances. I know most all of us, we get inspired, we get ideas. Most of them I could never do.
Well,
but
and just the idea that you can't be there. So being a part of it.
Yeah. Food. They not only had food, but you could bring it inside. You could sit there and eat French fries while watching the performances. And they had obviously tons of food all the way around. We actually left and went to Bongos. Right down just 2 or 3 buildings away. They had Wolfgang Puck's, which is amazing. We've been there many times as well. Or you could eat there right there at the House of Blues. So I guess you don't really think about that, but I know when we went up to Pacific Northwest Regional, it was so cool having that.
You didn't have to leave the venue.
Yeah, you could be right there, grab a bite to eat, and still not miss a beat with anything.
Especially if you flew in and you weren't local.
You don't know where to go at that point. So I think that was awesome. Just inside, right there, you could grab a drink and still not miss any action. Family friendly. Obviously, Duncan was very involved with having families be able to become a part of this.
I also heard that they brought in the local Boys and Girls Club.
Yes, they did at the very beginning.
And then they actually gave away like little goodie bags with yo-yos and.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they to all of them. So they bussed them in. Duncan bussed
no way.
them. Yep, they bust.
Well, I didn't know that. You're holding.
Didn't know that?
No, that was not in the show prep. That was not there.
No, from what I understand, that they were busted. They actually rented a bus to bring them in, sat them in, let them watch all that kind of good stuff, and then it gave them little goodie bags. And from what I understand, not even just like little plastic. We're talking about like the little Duncan bags, like the little book bag looking things with the strings. Gave all of them those and with little goodies in them.
That's awesome.
And then bust them back.
That's the thing that's going to get more people remembering it. And they were
not
really
only that,
into
but
it.
if there were 20 kids there, you know how many of maybe 10, 5, even if it was 3 of them that were inspired, these little kids that were inspired and went, they're at home right now yo-yoing.
Yep. And that's the future. That's the next generation right there. So major kudos for that. And it's also, as far as family friendly, for the first time ever, we brought all 5 of our kids to the contest to watch it.
Yep.
That was awesome. One of the funny moments was we were trailing up, walking upstairs to check out the vendor tables, and Chris from Caribou Lodge comes by and he goes, "Wow." Because we don't normally bring all of our kids with us, so they're something that you hear about, but we never got to, and it was fun posting some pictures. I remember I posted up on Facebook and Instagram. Chloe, our little 3-year-old, was propped up, leaning on the wall, and she somehow fell asleep, and then I forget who was on, but somebody hits a banger, everybody goes crazy. She sits up, and then she's glued again, and it was just so cool to be able to share that with our kids, because normally they can't, we'd never imagine trying to take 5 kids, especially ages 10 to 3, to something like this. And the venue and the environment allowed us to do that. That was really cool.
Yep.
Well, with everything, there's pros, but if we're being objective, there's also cons. And this was a very awesome contest. But with every contest,
I was proud as someone who represents, the yo-yo community as a whole. It was cool to walk amongst that and be like, this is us. This is cool. I like this. I was proud of it.
Well, that's what a lot of times we've been missing, and even in the Worlds, there's been so many things, and a lot of people won't know this. We don't want to hit on it too long, but there has been so many things that we as a production company even have been wanting to do with Worlds to legitimize it, to take it to the next level, to make it amazing and awesome, that we were just told, no, can't do that. No, we can't do this. We don't have the extra budget for this, or we don't have the time for setup to do this. And it's been very frustrating.
That or nobody cares about that.
That's true.
Nobody cares about that.
That was frustrating. And so there's so many things that we wanted and even capable of doing, because for those that don't know, we also own an entertainment production company, and just wanted to do so badly, but weren't able to do because for one reason or another. So it was really cool to see a high-end, well-done, great contest that showed, and I keep using that word, but it's so important, legitimizing our sport. Anybody who knows anything about yo-yos, the first thing they think about, oh, it's just a kid's toy that goes up and down. We all know, we've all heard it. And a lot of people's minds were changed that walked through those doors. But if we look at it objectively, that's kind of one of the problems we saw, walk through those doors. What was your first impression as we were walking up with our kids?
Well, we knew what was going on. It was hard. There, in my opinion, there should have been huge, whether it be even a flag of some sort, and then even, as ridiculous as it sounds, like those people, those sign flyers,
the fly guys,
no, the guys who stand outside by the road and twirl. Yeah, something like that. Have some yo-yoers out there drawing attention to people. Saying, hey, if you want to see more, go through. It's free. It's whatever you are. I mean, there's some awesome things happening inside that building right now, and all this stuff. There should have been people kind of like announcing what was going on. I do know that Duncan was out there, but there wasn't anybody that grabbed our attention.
Yeah, it wasn't until Saturday that they actually put a tent, moved like their little inflatable up, and that was still down by the bowling alley, so it wasn't even right in front of the entrance.
Yeah.
And they were trying to, but I think that was the problem, is that as we were walking up, first thing I said to Coty, because I was already there earlier with John and Brian Melford, if you're not looking, you're going to walk right past us and never know what's there.
And who knows, maybe that's a restriction that, Disney put on, like you can't put, too much, whatever.
Well, the entrance looked amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, they had pictures of yo-yoers.
The only thing that this whole thing had going for it is the reputation of a Dunkin' logo. If anybody in I don't care what country you're from or whatever, you know what a Dunkin' a Dunkin' logo looks like.
Yep.
So when you see that, you're like, oh, yo-yos, whatever, whatnot. Now, could they have said the International Yo-Yo Contest, in bigger, brighter letters to grab just as much attention as a Dunkin' logo out on the street? I think that they could have done a little bit more. There were a good flow of people that came in and out off of the street, I will say. But I think that the amount of people that walked past, let's just look at the finances part of it. I mean, Disney is so expensive that if you see a free act, you're going to stop.
Yeah, you're going to be all about it.
So I think if more people understood what kind of voodoo magic was happening inside of those doors, they would have stopped and just taken a second to peek in, maybe even grabbed a t-shirt, maybe grabbed a Dunkin', something or whatever, whatnot, because like I said, everybody knows what a Dunkin' yo-yo is. They know what Dunkin' is. You put any other logo out there, they're going to look right past it.
Yeah.
But I really think that that's where they could have used some yo-yoers out in the street, kind of just grabbing people's attention, kind of yelling at some points. Now it was cool, it was right there by Cirque too, the Cirque du Soleil arena, and even they have acts that come out to showcase what's going on inside of that building.
Pre-show entertainment kind of.
So, and it's really cool. Like, people are like, wow, that's really neat. So that's the only thing I think that as far as outside, I think they could have done just a little bit more. But, I mean, you know, that's just that's just an additional, like, hey, next time let's do that. Let's put some people out there. You've got plenty of young yo-yoers. In fact, there were a couple young yo-yoers that were actually on the other side of House of Blues, where they have live entertainment, like a live guitarist or whatever and whatnot, that were out there yo-yoing to the music. And I think that was perfect. I think that was awesome. And then what happens is those guys need to put on a little bit of yo-yo show and then say, hey guys, you can check out the rest of what, you know, blah 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 in the building, or in right there around the entrance. And, you know, even if you get a couple of people that get up and go look, you know, that's
there was especially for finals, there was a good amount of people in there. It was pretty busy. There's just could have been a whole lot more. There's hundreds of people that walk by there every 20 minutes probably. That could have filled.
Could you and I don't know, maybe Duncan did this and maybe it was shut down, but could you put like little flyers and bongos and in front of Disney Quest and in front of, you know, and said, hey, just let people know that, you know, there's the International Yo-Yo Contest is happening today.
Yep.
I mean, that's huge.
Yep.
That is a huge, you know, and I think that, you know, so I don't know. And like I said, maybe they were shut down and not able to do that. But if it wasn't thought of, then I think that is something to jot down and put on the notes for next time.
Now, as we talked about being part of a production company.
Did they tap in on the news? I know before Worlds and Greg was actually really good about that as far as getting on the news
and things like that. I didn't see anything, but we don't have TV anymore.
But
Hulu. Well, another thing that, as I mentioned, being a production company, Coty and I are heavily involved in sound and lighting. It's what we do. It's how we make a living. It's our passion as well as yo-yos. So one of the things that can be definitely improved on, you have a multi-million sound and lighting.
We've seen that show light.
Yeah.
That stage light up.
It's incredible. They have acts, everything from, actually, another yo-yoer, Nicholas Beeland, and I went and saw Zed, which is an electronic dance artist, EDM. So they can put on, now obviously Zed brings in a lot of his own lights too, but they can put on one heck of a show. And from a lighting standpoint, it was exactly the way it was the whole time. And one of the things that we tried to do with Worlds many times, but again, just weren't given the green light, not that we're not capable of, we were just told not to, is creating more of a theatrical look. There should have been an X on the middle of that stage. The yo-yoer walks to that stage, bam, hits them with a spotlight. They're announced, the lights swirl around the room, come back, bam, spotlight right on, and then it goes into a full stage light, and then they announce the name, stage wash onto the logos and the sponsors and everything. Ladies and gentlemen, next up, you know, and then bam, you're right into it. Give it some energy and excitement. And you don't even have to do that for prelims, but do it for finals. I mean, you've got an incredible light show. You've got a hog board, which is amazing lighting board. Man, you got to take advantage of that. The other thing is one of the, this was kind of a personal pet peeve of mine, was that one of the MCs said, there was a lot of confusion throughout the prelims about which music, and there were several restarts, and the yo-yoers had to go off stage after they're announced and fix the music and everything. And one of the MCs stated, if you've ever been to a yo-yo contest, this is just how it works. This is what happens.
That's horrible.
And that drove me crazy. No, that's not how it works. There doesn't need to be all these miscommunications and errors and stuff. And one of the things I prided myself on was Worlds last year, doing 12 hours of prelims with only 2 mistakes in 12 hours. And those 2 mistakes are because the people didn't bring their music till seconds before and gave me the wrong CD. So it had nothing to do with me. It was that person. And it's like, you know, and we don't know the circumstances or the situation.
They did have a music upload, but I don't know.
We were told there was problems with it by other people. Whether that happened or not, obviously we weren't involved in that area. But it was just
we should have been.
Anyways, moving along. That's just one of the things that, as someone who does that for a living, was just, oh, come on, guys, get it together, get stuff together.
You've got powerful equipment at your fingertips, you know, between lighting and sound and, you know, computerizing all of that, you know, take advantage of all that. Take advantage of what you have at your fingertips. Not only that, but you're drawing a lot of attention and you're showcasing this to how many people. Don't set the standard for them that this is just half par. Yep. That's not the standard to be. I mean, not only that, but you have a gorgeous, attractive, you know, visual going on here. Meet it up. In my opinion. That's just my opinion.
Well, and that you could also look at that at all contests, is that the better run the contest is as a whole, the better experience.
Everything we look at everything so smoothly.
And we look at everything from a show, and one of the things we talk about all the time with our production company is putting on a good show. Is that good show? Is that good show? Is this good show? And we had, as we mentioned, so many things that we already listed about the IYYC that was what we consider, man, that's good show. Mm-hmm. But then to fall in some of these other areas, it's like, oh, it really brings it down because you have such a great thing going. And to their defense, it is their first time doing it. But when you put all this time, energy and effort into it, you really expect, and especially Disney goes all out with everything. Mm-hmm. Being that Coty and I do a lot of events for Disney, there's a certain level of professionalism and expertise that you have to bring to it. Mm-hmm. Vendor tables. This was something that kind of ties into what we said. We weren't vendors at this, but man, no one knew that there was an upstairs to it. They did have a sign next to the stairs, but that was it.
Well, what could have happened, and I don't know, wasn't there the entire time, but what could have happened is your MCs on stage could have just constantly been plugging that.
They mentioned it, I think, one time the whole time I was there that I remember.
They need to be constantly plugging it because a lot of people don't, they've never been to the House of Balloons, or they don't understand how that works, so they're not used to that, or, you know, whatever and whatnot. Constantly plugging it. Not only that, but your sponsors need to be constantly plugging deals. You know, hey, for 10 minutes only, you know, Yomega, you know, located upstairs to your, you know, stage left, or however you want to say it.
Worlds was full of that last year.
Yeah, I mean, constantly. Not only that, but you start that and you get like a sponsor, you know, rival going on, and that's fun. And then
you're talking about JD and me.
Well, yeah, I mean, but I'm talking about like I mean like a fun rival.
Yeah,
like,
it was fun. It was
somebody
fun.
Says, you know, we're gonna do T-shirts for $10, you know, for the next 10 minutes. Come up and, you know, buy a T-shirt. And then the next vendor says, all right, fine, we're gonna do them for $8, you know, or you know, whatever and whatnot. But that is just plugging your sponsors, and that's your sponsors. You know, that way people know that they're there. People know how to, you know, it's just the ABCs, I guess, mm-hmm. of that. You've got to, you know, walk people through how this works.
Yep. And there was only 3 booths there, and so hopefully in the future there'll be more.
Booths?
There was Duncan, Yomega, and Expert were there.
Okay.
So there was only 3 booths, but you know, I wish that. There'd be more people that knew about it. There's no reason, because again, that gets yo-yos into more people's hands. There should be no reason why those tables shouldn't have been cleared out of yo-yos with the amount of people that was walking by.
You know, my opinion is you put those tables outside.
Yep.
In my opinion.
Well, and we don't know, again, like we said earlier, we don't know the rules.
True.
We don't know what has to be done with it. So,
mm-hmm.
And the last thing that we'll bring up that I thought was kind of a negative, but it kind of goes with, there's really no way around this with that particular venue, is room to yo-yo. There were chairs on the bottom floor, which was great for people to sit in. But if you were there, or if you weren't there, there's all these little walkways and hallways, which are great for standing room only. That venue is built as a concert venue for people to stand and watch. The problem is all these little back halls, alleys.
So what would you have done different?
There's nothing you can do. That's the problem.
No, I think that there is. I think you take the chairs out of the actual.
But who's going to want to stay and just stand?
Your yo-yoers.
Right, but
give them
but
their
we're
spot
trying...
to you showcase your little yo-yoers. Your little
that's nice. Yes.
I mean,
Remember who said that.
But you showcase what they want to do. Give them their spot to do that, and you have all your spectators that stand upstairs in the places that you don't have room to yo-yo. Put them up there, put them around the sides, put them around, but let your yo-yoers sit down there and yo-yo and also revere what they're there for. They're people that they're looking, literally up to.
But I think the cool thing is that this event was for the yo-yoers, but it was just as much for non-yo-yoers as well. I think that's where having the chairs there, I'm going to disagree with you. I think having the chairs there is exactly what you need, because you want people. I mean, remember my friend Rob that I DJ with? Yeah. He came in, brought his girlfriend in.
Why couldn't he go upstairs and sit where we sat when we first got there?
Well, there's only a few chairs up there.
But we found a seat with no problem with 5 kids.
True.
I mean, for me, if you place your chairs up there.
Yeah. Well, I see what you're saying.
And then you could also put your vendor tables down there in the middle.
That I agree with. That probably should have happened.
I think if that was me, I would have cleared that middle space, given that to them, put the vendors down there as well, and give them exposure, and then have your spectators in the spectator area, which is on the outsides of it, and then the upstairs. That's your spectator area.
There's still not a lot of room, even in that area, for 50 yo-yoers to actually be yo-yoing.
But a yo-yo will find a place to yo-yo.
We always do. We always do. But I kind of put that as a con, just because I knew there were several times that I had to really change the way I threw, and even had to be constantly watching other people to make sure I didn't hit them. And you could see the employees of House of Blues were starting to get nervous as they're walking through. Like, oh, excuse me, coming through. So that's just the thing. There just wasn't a lot of space for that. But we saw pictures of Worlds today where it was nothing but open space, and that was pretty cool too. Well, let's move on. One of the things I will say, though, is that I was kind of disappointed in. I know a lot of people said that, on social media, this is a great thing, and it was a great thing, but I was kind of disappointed that Duncan started off with, like, I think they said $27,000 cash prizes, and then for some reason, I have my theories, but for some reason it dropped down to $17,000, and then they started flying some different acts in. And I think one of the cool things is $17,000, that's still a ton of money, but $27,000 cash, man, that again helps legitimize our industry, our sport.
I think the amount of money that was given was that. I mean, I don't know why they went down. I mean, whether it be because they, did help so many people be able to come to the contest. I mean, I don't disagree. I mean, I don't know. I guess.
How important, let me ask you this, how important do you feel that having a very high cash prize is to the success of our industry, the legitimacy of our contest, the pulling in people moving forward? Maybe someone that can do this as a, I mean, we know yo-yo people that do shows. John Narum does yo-yo shows. Michael Cummings goes to hospitals and does shows. Dave Herrera up north has the Eli Hops for Autism and does shows at hospitals with Eric Bjork. I mean, there's so many people that I do school shows and at nursing homes and do different things to give back. How awesome would it be to go around and make a living like skateboarding, like surfing, like, all those different industries where you could go on tour? I think this is a big first step towards that.
To me, having cash prizes is a lot of incentive for a player from the ground up to have a goal to say, hey, I want to do that someday, and they could actually, yes, there's a cash prize involved. That's just the plain out, it's a winning incentive. And then it's also incentive for sponsors, because then a sponsor can send a player to a contest, and there's a payback for that, for a winner, so I mean, there's incentive there for cash prizes. There's incentive there for high cash prizes, because my goodness, maybe even, as an example, one of our, let's just take our 10-year-old son. He could, okay, so there's a lot of money that went into that, and oh wow, that's cool. I could, to him, I mean, money is whatever. But, I can look at John making money at doing shows. This is a part of him making money. This is a part of his revenue is to win a contest. That's what a lot of, and then also getting sponsorships from that. That's a part of the revenue, type thing. So, I don't know. I mean,
I think it's the future. I think it's something that needs to happen. I know one of the things.
How many yo-yo contests do not have cash prizes?
A lot of them don't have cash prizes.
What do they walk away with? Just
yo-yos.
Just bragging rights?
Bragging rights and yo-yos.
So what am I going to fly out to? I mean, like I said, as a sponsor of players, I don't want. I mean. Now, if our player says, I really want to go to California to whatever and whatnot, that's one thing. Then it's like, okay, whatever and whatnot. But as us, what is our incentive to really send a player out somewhere,
It comes just down to just the PR that we get from doing that. Remember, we sent one of our players out to California, and that's just kind of just what it is, and it needs to be more than that. It really needs to be more than that.
Well, as long as you put enough. If you're not going to have cash prizes, then fine.
Well, here's the problem.
Put enough showcase on the sponsors. Then,
Well, yeah.
I mean, if you just flash by them and never mention their names or anything like that, then there is no incentive to go to that to be a sponsor or to send a sponsored player out to that at that point. If you're
I keep bringing up Chris Allen. Maybe I need to stop. But the thing that Chris Allen did so well at California States is he took the money the prizes that were given, and he realized something. He realized that people that are going to win his contest are more than likely already sponsored. And if they're not, they probably got a bunch of yo-yos already. So what incentive is it for them to have more yo-yos? There's really not. And a lot of people that win these contests, for the most part, not all, but for the most part, already players that either have a sponsorship, have their own signature yo-yo, or have, they're set. So I think that's where we need to, or that's where he took those yo-yos, sold them on eBay, took the money, and then create cash prizes out of them.
I didn't know that.
Yep. And I think that's something that is, I think more people should do that because
he could get more from retail than.
Well, and winners, I think they want money more than yo-yos. And we can poll them, and maybe we should do that. Maybe we should put a poll up and ask how many yo-yos would rather have yo-yos or money for winning. What do you think they'll say?
I don't know. It depends on. I guess money to buy the yo-yos that they want if it's yo-yos. I mean, if they say yo-yos and I say, well, if I give you $100 and you can go pick out whatever yo-yo you want, well, then that's going to be more incentive than saying, I'm going to give you a yo-yo that you probably are going to sell anyways.
Yeah.
Which is actually
one of the things that
some people do.
We're doing for Mid-East Regionals next year is we're giving gift cards out for YoyoCommunity so that they can take those gift cards and then come buy whatever yo-yo they want.
At what contest?
Mid-East Regionals up in Detroit. Oh. We're sponsoring that next year. Woohoo! Cool. So hopefully we can even be there for all of our Detroit people. That kind of goes back to one of the things that kind of worried me as a segue into the World Yo-Yo Contest. As you remember back when the group of people that's doing Worlds also did the European Yo-Yo Contest, that was actually in the same venue that Worlds is happening in right now. And when they were asking for sponsors, they said they didn't want yo-yos. They wanted dollars. They wanted cash because they wanted to give large cash prizes out. One Drop actually gave cash for this event, and their player actually won IYYC. And they didn't get any cash prize or anything, and because they just didn't have enough money after running the contest. And that's one of the things that really scared me about Worlds this year is, okay, you have a group that's taken over Worlds who did the European Yo-Yo Contest. While it was a great contest, they kind of failed in what we just talked about is so important, the cash prizes. And nobody really said anything. Well, it's the integrity. Yeah. Very few people said anything. It was like, okay, well, where's all this money going? Yes, we understand that it takes a lot of money to run a contest, but when you're asking for just cash donations to give a cash prize and don't, where's the accountability there? And why is nobody, talking about that for Worlds?
Why hasn't anybody said anything about that?
I'm not sure. It's something that kind of bothers me. And let me ask you this: have you heard anything about, like, with Duncan? We heard cash prize. That's what everybody cash prize. Oh my goodness, look at all this. Have you even heard about any cash prizes for Worlds? So, well, I'm kind of worried about that. Hopefully, there'll be a cash prizes.
This is all
we don't know yet.
Opinions and whatever and whatnot. It doesn't mean that it's not been done. It doesn't mean it hasn't been posted. If it has been posted, well then it hasn't been posted front and center. And hey, let's all cheer about this. I mean,
I haven't heard any talk about it. Let's just say that where everybody was talking about $5,000, $3,000, $1,000 for the best trick contest. Where can you go and get $1,000 for throwing down a trick? That's awesome.
I'll tell you a lot of money. A lot of money happened at IYYC, and they did a fabulous job.
And there's going to be a lot of scrutiny put on the IYYF and on this World Contest because it's the first time that it's changed hands for better, for worse. And there's definitely going to be, all eyes are going to be on this contest to see whether it's going to be a positive thing, a negative thing.
What do you mean? What just happened?
No, just all eyes are going to be on this contest. This is the first time it's away from Orlando, and
Worlds.
Yeah, Worlds.
Okay.
So everybody's going to be looking through that magnifying glass to see. I know, like I said, the money issue is one of the things I was really worried about from the EYYC event that they last put on. So we'll keep an eye on that, and hopefully we'll find out more information. And
I think everybody has a high hope on it.
Yeah, I have a high hope for it. Yeah. Actually, Coty and I spent a good portion of today watching the live feed, which was awesome. Love the camera angles. I
won't take anything away from that because I think I thought that was really awesome to be able to be still a part of the event without having to be there. They did a really, really good job. I'll even say the interviews after, the part, what was it, the 5A? Which one?
The 4A and 5A and 3A, they did interviews.
Okay. I missed that they didn't do it during the 1A. I don't know why, but, maybe because there was just so many. But the real quick, basically Instagram, part, that little 15-second interview, like, hey, how'd you do, blah, 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 that really puts a personality to that person. A lot of these people are lacking the personality. I
think a lot were kind of scared of it and didn't quite know, what to say or do, because it's not the norm. And I think that's a really cool part, that if you start getting into it. One of the things that, I don't know if you watched that with me or not, but at Cal State a couple years ago, they actually had 2 commentators that watched the show and was giving commentating.
I like that.
After that, oh, that was awesome.
Every sport has that.
Yep.
Kind of like to even bring awareness to things that you may have missed, or to it's great. I like that kind of stuff. I think that the direction of the media that they did with this so far has been
top notch.
It's been very nice, very nice. I think it's the next step.
Is it too nitpicky to say they really should have had that Worlds logo instead of that replay logo flashing every routine? Because that replay logo kind of got annoying after a while.
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. That's it. Oh, okay. That was my only nitpick. If I had to nitpick, but just really, that was good. That was top quality. Especially, we've had issues. Now, a lot of it's been the Rosen Plaza as far as the issues. Really issues getting a good, solid live feed. If you're on there today, you saw that there were some complaints. A lot of us had to drop it down to 480p. We have
but there's so many elements that go into that.
We have good internet, so
it's not TV, so it's all based on internet. It's all based on, your process. There's so many things that go into that. Once you figure it out, you're able to get on it. I don't understand how far you can actually, complain. You're watching the Worlds Yoyo Contest at home, so let's just be happy and in the better direction of things.
The other cool thing about it is, I don't know if this came with the format they use, but we're actually able to go back and watch. Like, a couple of them we missed, I was able to, just like an hour or two ago, go back and watch it because the live feed was up for instant replay, and you could even put where you wanted to watch it. It was just awesome. Love it.
It was good. I love the different camera angles. I love the quality of it. I really and truly, I just can't. there's nothing I could say about that.
If you can't be there, that's the way to do it.
It was actually it was actually relatable to watching any other sport, basically. I mean, like when we were watching the karate thing.
Yep.
The only thing they were missing was the commentary. But even then, I mean, I guess my thing is I would love to have more of the interviews backstage, or the real quick blips, like how'd you do?
I think that's what they did instead of the commentary, because you don't unless you're gonna have somebody talking.
They didn't do it during the 1A.
Right. No. And I think a lot of it was because you have 83 of them. You're trying to fly through them so quickly. You remember our first day in Worlds. I was exhausted at the end of that day, like 12 hours nonstop. Like the only time
that's your most popular set.
Yeah.
Then have a couple of people standing there. You know, have your.
Or maybe you stack them up so that you're interviewing, like the other person's waiting to be interviewed, instead of right as they get off the stage you're grabbing them. Maybe have them like stand there and wait, and so that you're interviewing in between while the other one's going on, and then have the person that's doing now obviously be more advanced.
Give them a chance to get a breath and all that.
Then the person would kind of cut it in. So yeah, very good. One thing I want to talk to you about that's different and has been getting pros and cons from different way is the wild card. Some people have thought that if you're going to be at Worlds, it only needs to be the best players, and anybody off the street should not be able to participate in this. Some people say that you should. The answer, go ahead.
I mean, it depends on which argument you're hitting. I mean, if Worlds is for yo-yoers, then I don't know. I go back and forth because I believe that Worlds should be the ones that went to the contest before their state contest or the national contest, or the regional. Okay, the state, the regional, the nation or nationals, whatever it is, and they stepped up, and then Worlds is the. I've gone through a journey, and here I am. So if you take that argument, then no, I don't believe that someone who didn't do any of that stuff can't walk into Worlds and win it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love the fact that you can get up on stage, and do it if. But
that's going to be my argument, is that the IYYF, the new yo-yo federation that was formed to take over Worlds, came up with the idea of a wild card, which is 30 seconds in a side back room, and that is what you do before you can make it on stage. One of the things
Did they have music?
That I don't know. I think they did, but probably not actually. That's something I don't know. Maybe somebody who was there can chime in and tell us about that experience. One of the things, though, that Greg, who ran last Worlds, was very adamant about, if someone is flying in, if somebody is paying the money, if somebody is going to spend the time to practice, they deserve to be on that stage getting the experience of what it's like to be on Worlds. Last year, I even jumped up for the first time on the World stage just to yo-yo. Was the only country song there. And anyways, I yo-yoed on the World stage, and that was pretty cool. There's no way I'm going to win, but it was a great experience, and I can say, hey, you know what? I did it. I yo-yoed on the World stage.
Okay, but then you have an amateur, an amateur hour, or I don't know. I'm kind of
you call me amateur?
No, of course I'm not. but I'm just saying, like, I just don't. I think Worlds. I mean, that's like saying, okay, come to the Super Bowl, and even if you can still try out to what. No, these teams, these people climbed the ladder, and here they are, type thing. Therefore, there's incentive, if you did this correctly, there's incentive to go to your state contest. There's incentive to create your state contest, because there's got to be a first step there, and you work your way up. I'm not saying that if you don't win states and you don't win, blah, 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 those are all ones that should have wild cards all the way up the ladder. Worlds is, I earned my spot here. I earned this, and that, I don't know.
So they should be a spectator then, if any, like.
I think you go and you go, I want to do that someday, and you work harder, You've got to build the anticipation. You can't just, like I said, okay, let's just take anybody. Let's take, someone like, I don't know everything about it or whatever now, but I'll say, like Sebastian Brock, whatever.
Okay.
I mean, I know he does, doesn't he? He does states. He does regional.
Yep.
He does nationals.
The new Pan
and then
America.
he was he did. He's done all of these. And then to stand on the world stage, to me, he's climbed the ladder. And then he stands next to an amateur, someone who hasn't done any of that stuff, that paid his money and now is competing with him. This is someone, to me.
Well, that's the thing, is that Hiroki Suzuki, three-time world champion, had to do wild card. Jensen Kimmett had to do wild card.
I think, to me, once you've won Worlds, you're automatically in prelims. I don't care how long it's been.
Semi.
If not semi, but I still say prelims at that point. But if you've won Worlds, I don't care if it was 10 years ago, you've earned that. That's a part of the trophy.
Yeah,
you're carrying that trophy. There's that earned respect.
Yeah.
Walk in the door. I've won Worlds. I did the climb. I did this. There is no reason why he should have done.
You shouldn't take that away from that person. Yeah.
Not only that, but there's no reason why he should have paid to do wild card. And I also believe that if you've won Worlds, you never pay to go to Worlds ever again. In my opinion, that's it. To me, that's an added incentive. That's an added, when I win Worlds. But again, you've got to take away. You've got to build a ladder that people have to climb to get to the world stage contest. And maybe, hey, it goes down to, instead of having 160 or 150 or 89 prelims, maybe you only have 50 prelims because that's how many people did the walk. But then you go ahead and you build the rosters at your state level, your region level, your nationwide level, your international levels. You build those rosters and you help those contests because now you've told these people, you have to have the credentials of even attending that contest at that point.
Yep, I love that. I love those ideas. One of the things that I've always thought about that might work really good in something like this is, one of the things that's always bothered me is you practice for hours and hours and hours. You get on that stage. Maybe you're outside at nationals, humidity. John Nairn was saying about how he was doing 4A and it started raining.
You go to Lambeau Field and you're out in the snow and the rain. You go to Florida, you're in an AC arena. Yeah. I mean, that's just
I know, it is what it is. But what I was saying is that if you go and do a point system, and you compete at states, so many points, depending on where you place. Go to regionals, so many points, higher points, depending on where you place. Go to nationals, points.
Yeah.
And then you got a point system, and then your point system is going to encourage people to go to their state contest, their regional contest, their national contest, their international contest.
I also think that those point systems need to be public.
Yep, and then you're kind of creating a race like NASCAR. Forgive me for saying NASCAR, but NASCAR has a point system. You go to the different races, you see where they're going.
You can look it up. You can go to the website, like any sport out there, whether it be baseball, whatever it is. You can see the point standings. You can see who your leading point standers are. That to me is, how hard would it be to go to a system like that? It wouldn't be hard at all. That way, also, you take away all the guesswork out of it, too, and all the favoritism, and all the, I guess
then you got what you said earlier. You're earning your way to Worlds. You're
Absolutely.
earning the respect is coming to you, the point totals. It's forcing people to go to their state contest.
It's forcing people to I don't know, have the respect for what they're grabbing for. If you want to hold the world's title, you've got to do the climb. You've got to, well,
that's the thing right now. Mickey very well could win, Worlds, or we'll just say, we'll just put any person could potentially go in, win Worlds from the wild card up. And it could be anybody. It could be me. It could be you. It could be someone. If we had the skills,
absolutely,
we could not do a contest all year.
And I would tell you right now that if I was and the only one I can think of, and forgive me, is Sebastian, is Sebi, is because I've personally seen him, you know, go at all the contests. And to me, if I was standing up there and this is my life, this is what I do, this is what I am, this is what I do, and I'm proud of what I do, and then you see some kid, it's kind of like working your way up from the bottom to the top in anything, whether it be a company or whatever, and you see some college kid come out and take your job. Yeah. It's like, wait a minute, I worked hard for this. I paid the price. I put in the time. John Narum has been yo-yoing for what?
Oh, tiny years, 10 years.
I thought it was like
8 years, 12 years.
I thought it was longer than that. But or even then, I don't care. You've got, you know, someone who I mean, you've got your legends standing up there with the people who they are inspiring, and that's beautiful. Except those people they need to walk the walk too. Mm-hmm. It's too easy for anybody to walk. And
maybe that's where you say is that you can be a part of Worlds and open it to everybody. Okay, open to everybody, but you have to have so many points to qualify.
Sure.
And the points, you just for being on the Florida State stage, you're going to get X amount of points. Yeah. Just for being on the Southeast Regional stage.
So let's say you don't place on any of them, but you
did the climb.
But listen, but even standing on that stage, even just being a roster, a person on the roster, you gained the minimal amount of points to stand on the wild card stage at Worlds. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying you have to win all those. Now let's say at the wild card stage. Now let's say you do place, and you do place, and you do place. And you do place, you know, at all the, you know, beginning contests, then you're automatically, by the point standings, either automatically go to prelims or you automatically go to semifinals. You know, however you want to do that. How many of them are seeded directly into finals? So we can do it. It's a possibility.
Well, and even right now, you could go to Pan America in Vegas, win that, and automatically be seeded into finals and never do another contest. And you automatically get your seed. You can bypass nationals.
I just think that if you want to strengthen the entire system, the entire line of it all, you've got to, I don't know, I'm not saying create a government of it, but you've got to put more power into, you know, your what's building people up to get to the Worlds level. You've got to put more as a responsibility of the Worlds Foundation, who, you know, the people that are running that. You have a responsibility to also take care of your, I don't know, the commoners, you know, whatever, of Yo-Yo Contest. You've got to take care of them too.
And I think that's how you build.
Because those are the ones that are building your stage presence, your roster. They're building your roster. You hear
all the time about a grassroots effort, and whether it be politics, whether it be just starting something in your community, you hear that grassroots word used all the time, especially here in the United States. And I think that would really help create a grassroots effort in yo-yoing, get people into that state level, get the big names at the state level, have them look up to somebody, have them accessible, and then build it up from there.
Yep.
So
then you're legitimately looking up to somebody. You're legitimately building legends. You're you know, these are legit people to look up to and be inspired by, because that person, they earned their spotlight.
100%. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you very much for tuning in and listening to our very first show. If you like it, please tell your friends, share it, let everybody know. If you haven't yet had a chance to, head on over to YoyoCommunity.com, YoyoCommunity.com, and check it out. We have a community there as well as yo-yos for sale. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen, and can't wait to be back here soon with our next show.
Holla.
Good night.